You meet someone new. They text back instantly. They remember every detail you share. They make you feel seen, understood, special. Your heart races when their name lights up your phone. You think, finally, someone who truly cares. But 3 weeks later, they're distant, cold. The warmth vanishes like it never existed. You're left wondering what you did wrong, desperately trying to win back their attention. Sound familiar? Here's the truth you don't want to hear. They never loved you. And maybe, neither did you. What you both wanted was something far more intoxicating than love. Something darker. Something we all crave, but won't admit. We tell ourselves we want love, connection, understanding, someone to see past our masks and accept the mess underneath. But watch how we behave. Watch the games we play, the calculated response times, the strategic vulnerability, the way we test boundaries, push buttons, manufacture drama. We say we want intimacy, but we're addicted to the chase, the uncertainty, the power struggle. Niccolò Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. While others wrote about ideal love and noble virtues, he stripped away the pretty lies. In The Prince, he revealed what actually drives human relationships: control. Not in some evil, mustache-twirling way, but in the subtle, everyday manipulations we barely notice we're doing. Think about your last relationship. Really think. How much time did you spend trying to figure out what they were thinking, analyzing their texts, wondering if they were pulling away? That anxiety you felt wasn't love. It was your control slipping. And that euphoria when they finally called? That wasn't connection. It was power restored. Modern dating didn't create this dynamic. It just made it visible. The read receipts, the active status, the carefully curated profiles. We've built a system that turns intimacy into a strategy game, and we're all playing, whether we admit it or not. You know what's coming next, don't you? The moment when you realize you're not the victim in this story, when you see your own reflection in the very behaviors that wounded you. That's where we're going now, into the mirror you've been avoiding. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." He wasn't talking about politics. He was revealing the architecture of every human interaction. We're all performers, crafting versions of ourselves designed to elicit specific responses. And nowhere is this more visible than in how we pursue what we call love. Consider the phenomenon of love bombing, that intoxicating early stage where someone showers you with attention, affection, promises of forever. It feels like a fairy tale. But Machiavelli would recognize it instantly as a power play. They're not giving you love. They're creating dependency, making you addicted to their validation so that when they withdraw it, and they always do, you'll do anything to get it back. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. You do it too. Maybe not as obviously, but the mechanism is the same. You reveal yourself strategically. Share vulnerabilities at calculated moments. You create scarcity. Don't text back too quickly. Don't seem too available. You monitor their social media for signs of interest or betrayal. You test them with small withdrawals of affection to see if they'll chase. We've turned love into a market, and everyone's trying to maximize their value while minimizing their risk. The person who cares less holds the power, so we pretend not to care. We play it cool. We ghost before we can be ghosted. We keep backup options. We never fully commit, because commitment means vulnerability, and vulnerability means someone else holds the cards. The anxious avoidant dance that therapists describe? Machiavelli would laugh. It's not a psychological disorder. It's the natural result of two people trying to control something that can't be controlled. The anxious partner grasps for security through control, constant contact, reassurance, emotional fusion. The avoidant partner maintains control through distance, emotional walls, independence, the ability to leave at any moment. Both are terrified of the same thing, being at someone else's mercy. Social media amplified this dynamic to grotesque proportions. Now, we don't just control how we appear to one person. We curate our image for hundreds, thousands. Every photo, every story, every strategic like on someone else's post. It's all designed to create a specific impression, to maintain control over how we're perceived. And when someone we're interested in doesn't engage with our carefully crafted content, it feels like rejection, like loss of control. The term breadcrumbing perfectly captures this Machiavellian dynamic, giving just enough attention to keep someone hooked, but never enough to satisfy. It's not cruel for cruelty's sake. It's control. Keep them wanting more. Keep them uncertain. Keep them trying to decode your behavior. Because as long as they're focused on winning your approval, you hold the power. But the real tragedy isn't in what we do to others. It's in what we do to ourselves. In our desperate attempt to maintain control, we never actually connect with anyone. We're so busy managing impressions, calculating moves, protecting ourselves from potential hurt, that we never experience actual intimacy. We mistake intensity for depth, drama for passion, anxiety for love. Machiavelli understood that power corrupts not because it makes us evil, but because it makes us lonely. The prince can never truly trust anyone because everyone wants something from him. Modern relationships work the same way. When every interaction is a subtle power negotiation, when we're always performing, always strategizing, how can we ever just be with someone? The ghosting epidemic makes perfect sense through this lens. It's the ultimate power move, complete withdrawal. No explanation, no closure. You leave them wondering, questioning, trying to figure out what went wrong. And in their confusion, in their desperate attempts to understand, you maintain total control. Even in absence, especially in absence, you occupy their thoughts. But what drives this need for control? Fear. Deep, primal fear of being seen, rejected, abandoned. We try to control love because we're terrified of what it actually demands: surrender. Here's what Machiavelli knew that we pretend not to. Control and love cannot coexist. They're opposing forces. Control seeks predictability, safety, power. Love demands vulnerability, uncertainty, surrender. You cannot possess what you love. You cannot strategize your way to intimacy. You cannot manipulate someone into seeing your soul. Every game you play, every test you create, every calculated move, it's all a fortress you're building against the very thing you claim to want. You say you want someone to know the real you, but you won't show them. You want unconditional acceptance, but you only reveal the conditional version. You want deep connection, but you won't risk the deep rejection that might come with it. The modern dating landscape didn't create this problem. It just gave us more sophisticated tools to avoid real intimacy. Now we can craft perfect avatars of ourselves. We can maintain connections with dozens of people without truly knowing any of them. We can experience the simulacrum of relationships without ever risking actual vulnerability. But notice what happens when someone breaks the pattern. When someone is genuinely, unapologetically themselves. No games, no strategies, just presence. It's terrifying, isn't it? Because it demands the same from you. And suddenly, all your careful control mechanisms feel like what they are: walls between you and what you actually want. This is the mirror moment. The realization that the love you've been seeking is on the other side of the control you won't release. That the very behaviors you use to protect yourself are the ones keeping you isolated. That in trying to win at relationships, you've guaranteed you'll lose. Machiavelli ended The Prince with a paradox. The most powerful ruler, he suggested, is the one who makes himself unnecessary, who creates systems and relationships that function without constant control. The same applies to love. Real intimacy doesn't come from managing outcomes. It comes from releasing them. From showing up as you actually are, not as you think you should be. From risking rejection for the possibility of genuine acceptance. From choosing vulnerability over strategy. This doesn't mean being naive. It doesn't mean ignoring red flags or accepting poor treatment. It means recognizing that the games we play to protect ourselves are the very things preventing us from experiencing what we claim to want. You don't want love. Not really. Because love would require you to drop the mask, release control, and stand naked, emotionally, psychologically, before another human being. What you want is the feeling of love without the risk, the reward without the vulnerability, the connection without the surrender. But that's not how it works. It never has been. So you have a choice. Continue the games. Perfect your strategies. Maintain your walls. Keep controlling the narrative. Stay safe in your fortress of calculated behaviors. Or risk it. Risk being seen. Risk being rejected. Risk discovering that when you stop trying to control love, you might actually find it. Machiavelli would understand either choice. After all, he wrote, since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. But then again, when has love ever been about safety?